Despite being out of state in Atlanta, Tay was taking his safety seriously, showing off an FN-P90 machine gun that he had in the back of his car on an IG Live. 2023 would be an incredibly dangerous summer in Chicago, and numerous people would lose their lives in the month of June. Lil Ro from 757 had been seen on Instagram Live dissing his ops and saying he did a lot of stuff to them. He was seemingly depressed at this time, with one of his last posts suggesting that he was turning to drugs to cope with the pain of life. Days later, on the 10th of June 2023, Lil Ro would actually be out of Chicago in North Hollywood, Los Angeles, where he was gunned down in a drive-by at 1:30 a.m. in an alleyway on 10923 Magnolia Boulevard near Vineland Avenue, being pronounced dead at the scene with no suspects being found. He was later identified by the coroner as 20-year-old Deshaun Berry, known to his friends as Lil Ro. Blasian Doll would post on her story saying she was heartbroken over the news and claiming to have been friends with Lil Ro since the Sandbox, while enemies of 757 would seemingly post mocking Ro and saying he got put to bed, while others compared his murder in the alleyway from a drive-by shooting to the murder of Ricky from the movie Boys in the Hood. Since recording this video, in a shocking turn of events, a young man affiliated with Welch World by the name of Taurine Bartlett, better known as Trench Baby, was arrested and charged with the murder of Lil Ro. Trench Baby is in fact the brother of infamous Chicago rapper Polo G, and these murder charges come just a couple of months after an August 2022 raid on Polo G's LA mansion, which saw Polo and Trench Baby being led away from the property in handcuffs, an apparent result of the police investigating Trench Baby for an armed robbery. But anyway, back to the original murder of Lil Ro, because within a few weeks of that killing, retaliation would strike, and two Welch World affiliates would end up losing their lives in the same month. On June the 23rd, a Welch World affiliate by the name of Turbo would seemingly lose his life, tragically only months after his father passed away. Real name, Derek Dillon, the 19-year-old was shot and killed in the 400 block of South Weber in Romeoville, Illinois, a suburban village 26 miles southwest of Chicago. The murder was the result of a shooting at the Scene 75 Entertainment Center where he was confronted by a 16-year-old boy. According to officers, a verbal dispute led to several shots being fired, killing Turbo and injuring another 16-year-old who was with him, with the teenage shooter alleged to be responsible for Turbo's death being arrested and held on a $5 million bond. Turbo was seemingly involved in the streets, having court charges of possessing a firearm with a defaced serial number and reckless conduct, and his involvement in the gang war would seemingly be confirmed by his affiliates posting him on their stories, and members from rival set 757 posting Long Live Ro in the aftermath of the killing of Turbo, with others claiming to have officially gotten get back, and some going as far as to say that Turbo tried to fight and got put in the ground after getting shot with a Glock with a switch. But that wasn't the only tragedy that would be associated with Welch World in the summer of 2023. Only days after the killing of Turbo, Lil Reese and Tay Savage's manager, Huncho from Welch World, gets killed. He had been close friends with heavy hitters in the drill scene like THF Bezu and Tay Capone. Real name Diedrich Baker, Huncho was found with a gunshot to the head in the 4300 block of South Cottage Grove, one of the main blocks of Welch World, on June the 27th. In the days that followed, a 757 member repping Cess World Neef Street, CWNS, appeared to claim responsibility, posting a pendant with Cess and Neef on it and the caption, "This ain't over," and suggesting that there would be 2 funerals for their ops in July. Another post suggested that they run the low end, whilst others would post disrespectful images of Welsh packs, and some known to beef with Welch World made hurtful posts mocking them. However, one of these people, 051 Kiddo from Young Money, who himself was recently released from a lengthy prison sentence, would eventually take the disrespect to a whole other level when on September the 19th he released his song No Peace, which was likely a reference to the Pushing Peace movement that Tay Savage has recently engaged in with FYB J Mane.
What's the conversation when y'all see J Mane? They hit different, bro.
Pushing peace, not beef.
I f with the movement though, like pushing peace. Yeah. I f with Tay Savage, pushing peace.
In the song, Kiddo raps about how Huncho got killed because someone, either Huncho or possibly Tay, was talking too much. He then ups the disrespect by bringing Huncho's mother into the mix, before ending the bars claiming that Huncho was moving too loosely in the city, seemingly implying that Young Money might have had something to do with his death. However, despite the bravado coming from Welch World's ops, there was seemingly retaliation for Huncho's death only days later, as news outlets would soon begin to report of the death of a 757 affiliate by the name of Ivo. According to Rum Report, he was shot in a drive-by while standing outside of a house with a woman, with 757 members seemingly mourning the loss of their friend, but unfortunately, the bodies would not stop dropping. Only about a week after the death of Ivo, on July the 8th, 757 would lose another one, when one of their OG members, Kenny Mack from the Av, who had been heavy in the streets all the way back to when Neef was still active and had actually made a song dedicated to Neef and Cess all the way back in 2012, was gunned down near Chinatown. The summer of 2023 had been a bloodbath in the low end, proving that despite the decade plus since the tragic series of events that caused the deaths of Cess, Neef, and Welch, these bitter rivalries had raged on and been passed down to a whole new generation, obsessed with proving that they are just as deadly as the ones that came before them. It's a truly sad cycle of violence that continues to play out to this very day. And I have to stress once again that this gang lifestyle is nothing to glamorize or glorify. After seeing so many people gunned down and losing their lives before their time, it's shocking that anybody would actively decide to involve themselves in gang lifestyle. But the sad truth is, many people simply don't have a choice, and very few are going to be as lucky as Tay Savage when it comes to beating the law and surviving that gang lifestyle. In many ways, Tay Savage was the luckiest person to emerge from the low end, with his life and his freedom still intact, and he would now have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity as a rapper and survivor of the gang war to make a name for himself telling the stories of the dangerous life he used to live, rather than actually continuing to live that life. And luckily for Tay, right at the end of that deadly summer of 2023, he would come out with the biggest announcement of his career, revealing to the world that he had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to change the fortunes of himself and his family forever.